And one thing about the college that I always like to share is that Orlando was from industry himself. He was a wealthy coal baron. And in his will, he always said that he wanted a trade school where men and women could learn useful arts and trades. This was in 1912.
Whoa, I have goosebumps.
I know. So I love to tell that story because he was so forward thinking.
Today's guest is Dr. Katie Pittelli, President and CEO of Johnson College, NEPA's only technical college and one of the top-ranked two-year trade schools in the country. Since taking the helm in 2018, Dr. Pittelli has transformed the college through record-breaking growth, industry partnerships, innovative programs, and groundbreaking expansion, making technical education more relevant, accessible, and powerful than ever before. In this episode, we're talking leadership, vision, and how to build something that not only serves the present, but shapes the future.
So you have a lot going on at
Yes.
Johnson College. So tell us
Yeah.
about your position, what you're doing right now today, and then we'll
Sure.
probably fragment into a bunch of different areas.
Okay. So I'm currently the president and CEO of Johnson College. We are the region's only two-year technical college. Our main campus is in Scranton. We've been there for over 100 years.
Wow.
And we just opened our first satellite campus in Hazleton 2 years ago. So we just graduated that first class
Wow.
this May.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
big
thank you.
accomplishment.
What was the vision there? What made you decide, hey, we need to expand?
So a couple things. We're really tight on our current Scranton campus. We have 44 acres. It is the original
Yeah.
property of the college. So we were looking at areas that were far enough away where we weren't just replacing students, but we were actually getting into a new market. Hey, we had a really good relationship with the folks at Can Do. So when they heard we were looking at different areas, they approached us about the building, which was the former McCann School of Business. So it was already set up like a trade
Right.
school, which again, it had a weld shop, which is a huge expense. The stars just really aligned there, and we worked in partnership with Can Do. We surveyed the businesses. It's literally in the middle of the Humboldt Industrial Park. So when I say industry is our students' campus, it literally is. They can walk out our front door and right into the front door of their job. So it's been a great partnership.
That's
That's
pretty
incredible.
I feel like you're, I don't know if I'd say this, like in the sweet spot right now. And I go back to way back, I guess. When I was in high school, it was all academics.
Yeah.
It was,
for me
it was,
too.
yeah, it was like going to college, you're going for this, and you get to choose. And when my kids just fairly recently, in the last 5 or 6 years, were into the high school programs, there was at one of the orientations that night, it was all about the red tile, the vocational jobs, the on-hands kind of employment. And I was looking around, I was like, it's a complete flip-flop from when I was going through school.
Yeah.
And it seems like those jobs are becoming very attractive, and you're in a really sweet position. Do you feel that? You must feel
Yeah.
that.
So I've been at the college a total of 18 years. I'm in my seventh as president and CEO. And I've even noticed from the time that I started, when I got more involved with the marketing and PR of the college, I would sit with our enrollment team and I would ask them, like, what are some of your challenges? What are you hearing out there? And they would specifically say that they go into some of these schools and they have people from superintendents to teachers to everybody in between say, our students don't go to Johnson College. And it's not flattering. And it was demoralizing for a number of years. So to be able now, 18 years later, to see the shift, which started, I'm happy to say, before COVID, I think people were really starting to take a look at affordability and what the value of a degree is. What am I going to be doing in 2 years or 4 years after I make this huge investment? And the tide is finally shifting. And like I said, we've had now going on 7 years of record enrollment. So it started before COVID.
Wow.
And then when COVID hit, I think then people realized because nobody could find anybody, right? They needed a plumber, they needed a carpenter, they needed an HVAC technician, and they couldn't find anybody. So I think all of that combined has finally helped people have a better understanding of what a hands-on, like technical education is really all about and the value of that degree in just a year or 2 years.
Yeah. It's a scarcity that kind
Right.
of talent.
Yeah.
I grew up in contractors, so I helped build houses and stuff like that. It's hard work.
Yeah.
My brother still has the family business and took it to new levels, but yeah, it's just they're just constantly looking for somebody that has the talent and the willingness to learn. And I keep telling them, I'm like, you should find some of those key people and let them understand the potential on the business side of that they
Right.
because
Yes.
you can just be a single person with a talent, or you can grow it into a business. Different mindsets there.
Yeah.
And skill sets too.
And a lot of our students want to do that. They have that dream. They understand that they have to, once they graduate, get out, get 5 years of experience. But then many of them, if they're an HVAC technician or an electrician, they want their own truck and they want their own business 5 years out. Same with carpentry and cabinet making. They want to be able to have their name associated with the trade that they love.
Yeah. Interesting. Can I go back to...
Go ahead.
I'm stealing all
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Going back when you said you start 18 years?
18 years.
Where did you start originally there at Johnson College?
So I moved up to the area. My ex was from this area. So I moved up when we were looking for places to move and start a family. My family was still in New York at the time. His family was up in Archibald. So we thought the Scranton area was a nice, like in between, a lot closer to New York than where I was in New York, Pennsylvania, and obviously close for him. So I started applying for jobs, and I always did fundraising as pieces of other jobs that I had in New York, but I never did it full time. But I loved it because I loved connecting with people. My grandfather was a wonderful salesperson, and he really influenced me in how I interacted with people. And I thought, that's more people, relationship building. I think I could do that full time. So Johnson College was one of the places that I applied to, and they hired me as their first director of annual giving and grants.
Wow. That's a big job at any kind of higher ed. Yeah.
Was it overwhelming to you, or did you just hit the ground running?
I think me not being from the area, I thought would put me at a disadvantage, but I flipped it and used it to my advantage because I'm the new kid. So I just would pick up the phone. Hey, I'm the new person at Johnson College. We'd just love to come out and meet you and hear about what you do in your business. And I started connecting with a lot of alumni. Part of my job was also to build an alumni relations program at the college. They had never had one. In fact, before my predecessor, many of the presidents before her felt that they didn't want to be connected with, that they were like busy working and there wasn't value there. And I was like, I think there is. So I just started meeting with alumni, and fast forward all these years later, some of those relationships that I built, we just got our first $1 million gift, and we put the name of one of our alumni on one of our newest buildings on campus. So, I mean, it's just, and it's really through that relationship building and just being curious and genuinely wanting to connect and learn about people, and because everything influences then who you are and what you do. And I've just been very fortunate. I've met some of my best friends through the college. One of my best friends is an alumni.
So the alumni, that whole program, does that become then a conduit for your students? Like a lot of them are very eager to hire somebody coming out of the college?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So that we have program advisory committees too. So every one of our programs, and a lot of our alumni serve on those program advisory committees. So they actually weigh in on what's happening out in the field, real time. This is how we need to change our curriculum for the next year to make sure they're learning what they need to know as soon as they graduate. But our alumni were wonderful. And I said to my predecessor, we haven't reached out all these years. We can reach out. It doesn't mean they're going to reach back, but they're just the most wonderful, humble, hardworking individuals that we're so happy to finally be able to share like their success stories.
That's
great. Incredible. What's your
Yeah.
favorite success story?
Probably Ideal Saldi. One of our latest buildings is named after him, Saldi Hall. So he graduated in 1949. And one thing about the college that I always like to share is that Orlando was from industry himself. He was a wealthy coal baron. And in his will, he always said that he wanted a trade school where men and women could learn useful arts and trades. This was in 1912.
Whoa, I have goosebumps.
I know. So I love to tell that story because he was so forward thinking. And then you look at someone like Ideal, who was from Jessup, very humble beginnings, graduated in 1949, he would tell this wonderful story about how his family was so poor, he couldn't even take the train into Scranton. I think it cost 5 cents. So he would walk.
Wow.
And ended up having 18 patents to his name. Before he passed away, he developed some of the first technology that went into the first digital watch. He went on to MIT. Just an incredible man who I was just so fortunate enough to develop a relationship, not just with him, but also his wife, Frances, and his entire family. And I always asked him, I'm like, you've gone on and done so many things. You went to other schools. What is it about Johnson College? And he said, Johnson College gave me my beginning. He said, and you're the only person who reached out. So again, it's that making those connections that I think people sometimes take for granted because you never know where it can lead.
It's music to my ears. You're preaching to the choir. I'm on the United Way board and a couple other charities that I've been involved with, and I'm always saying that. It's the hard part about charity is oftentimes the benefactors need to remain anonymous, not in a school situation necessarily, but the more you can connect the potential donor's money to what it actually does for them, for that person or that group, it tells the story. That's good. The fact that you're going out there, because people are just happy. Oh, they sent us a check last year. Let's send them a mailer. For someone to sit in my office and say, "Hey, I'd like to talk to you about XYZ chair," it's a totally different story.
Right.
Yeah. Plus, if you come with that energy.
And passion. I think Johnson College, for me, I moved up from York. I had been the executive director of a small nonprofit. It was our Main Street program in York. And starting at a college, I never thought I'd be in higher education. But I love it because of Johnson College and because we're so different. And my first day on that campus, I walked up to an all-college meeting. So everyone's there. And I bonded with the faculty instantly, many of whom are alumni of the college. And I always say I felt like I was home. When they say they have those aha moments of this was my purpose, I knew then, I'm like, okay, something good is going to happen here for me, for the college. I felt that from the moment I stepped on that campus.
Switched it to Dr. Katie mode.
Yeah.
Like I said before we started taping, I love the videos you have put out there. You're just going out there amongst the students and you're like, tell me what you're doing and starting promoting. It was great. Fantastic.
I'm so proud of them. And just, again, sometimes they're always considered the underdogs. And I just want to showcase their talent and what they're all about, because you won't find a harder working group of people than our students and our alumni.
Here's a crazy question. If you are coming out of high school and you decide Johnson College is for me, and then you change your mind, or you go to a different college and you say, and I think I want to do more of the trade. Is it one or another, or do you see kids make switches midstream like that?
We do, both sides. So we have students that attend Johnson College and either get their 1-year academic certificate or 2-year associate degree, and they can transfer on to other schools. So our institutional accreditation has a lot to do with that, which we switched several years ago. It was important for us to be able to have that ability for our students to transfer on if they wanted to get a business degree to add to their technical degree. And then we also see a lot of students transferring in. So they start somewhere else. Maybe they're in a year or two. They realize this isn't for me, or maybe I'm going to have a lot of debt and maybe not the kind of job that's going to help me pay back that debt at the rate in which I would like to. They then transfer into Johnson College. And we also have an early college program for high school students that know they want to do something in the trade or technical area, and they can start taking college level classes in high school. And we've actually had some students get their 1-year academic certificate from us before they've completed high school.
That's crazy.
I love those stories.
Yeah. Thank you. So a lot of different tracks. They can take a lot of different tracks.
I love the ambition. I would love to, on the business side, of course, with my background, I would love to marry knowing the trade and knowing how to run the trade as a business.
Yeah.
Because those are different skill sets.
Yes.
And I think the hardest part growing up with a family that runs a small business like that is that you take usually you're one of your most talented people, and then they're stuck in the office pushing papers and doing things and not actually doing the stuff that they're really good at.
Yeah.
And so that balance it's different for every company. but you can learn it in a classroom, but I think life experience is where it really start to figure out how to apply everything.
Definitely. And we bring in a lot of like real world speakers to share, to share stories like that, because you're right. And sometimes students start out thinking that, and then they realize, oh, maybe that's not my skill set. Maybe I'm just going to be like a really great technician or technologist, and that's perfectly okay too.
It's all that's needed. Like,
Yes.
There's a spot for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Part of your job is to help uncover their talent.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And
I
love.
Yeah.
wish I could do school all over again.
You know, I do too. There's so many things I would want to learn.
I know. Now, especially like working there, and I see our students and how much they grow in just 2 years. It seems I stand up at orientation. I say, I know it seems long now. I said, but trust me, 2 years will fly by. And then when I see them during graduation week, I'm like, it went fast.
Yeah. I'm sure they grow and blossom into really confident young adults.
They do.
And like ready to enter the workforce and make change. Like I love, they're making change with their hands.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every day.
And that they're skilled troubleshooters. They can almost, whether they're majoring in HVAC or automotive technology or electrical construction technology, we try to expose them to enough in the 1 or 2 years that they're there that when they can hit the ground running when they have that entry level job. And that's value added to the employer, we feel. So we try to give them enough experience where they're confident, like you said, going into that first
That creative
job.
problem solving can be applied to every industry, every area. And that's something that isn't, often trained. Is that creative problem solving. So to be able to incorporate that with your students is unbelievable.
Thank you.
Yeah. That will cross over any place they go.
Yeah. And almost like any field. So again, even if they start as an HVAC technician, they can very easily cross over and become an electrician. Or we try to give them enough interdisciplinary classes too, where they're not just, okay, it's HVAC, I know HVAC, but you're going to have to work in a team, especially like when you're out doing construction. So how does HVAC interface with the electricians? How do the electricians interface with the carpenters? How do the carpenters interface with the architectural drafters? So it's just exposing them to that and helping them understand that it's all connected.
Yeah, there's the whole AI conversation that's happening. But even with that, it's the creative problem solving to be able to put into AI and use that as a tool.
Yeah. And there was we got a lot of questions too. A robot's going to take over the world. And I'm like, you still need someone to program the robots, to take care of the robots, to be nice to them so they don't take us over.
That was my one question I was going to ask. I was just telling somebody at lunch about there used to be, when all the cars came out, we have auto mechanics.
Right.
But if robots are coming, we need robot mechanics.
And honestly, now you go to any auto dealership, you go in to take your car, it's all it's all electronic, all computers, it's all robot. It's our students and people think, oh, now they're just like walking up to the car and plugging it into a laptop. But I'm like, but do you know what that laptop says? I'm like, I don't. And I'm thankful that our students do.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's still an element of fixing.
They have to know what those codes mean when they come back, and then they have to know what to actually do about it.
Are you getting a lot of robotic questions then?
So we did, and now it's more that it transitions to AI. And again, it's all connected, but we have a mechatronics program, which actually incorporates robotics. It's a little bit of computer information technology, a little bit of automation, a little bit of electrical engineering, robotics. So that's the major I would select today if I was doing it.
It's like
all over again. Yeah,
cool.
and again, you can go anywhere, especially if you want to stay in this area, you can go anywhere and get almost any kind of like electromechanical type of job. And there's so many.
Sounds like
mechatronics.
A
I know,
movie.
right? And we started talking about it years ago, like back, I think, in 2013. And we thought, we can't introduce this program. No one's going to know what it means. So we waited until just 3-4 years ago and introduced it because it was finally being taught at the CTCs, at the Career and Technical Center. So we thought, okay, now we can we can finally.
Did it take off? Did it fill up?
It's still small. But we get 10 students right now, and it's 6 to 10 students. So for us, it's still being new. Yeah.
It's still good though, because now they're at the forefront of something new where less people will know it.
Yeah. The technology in the companies, it's mind blowing. If you go to American Eagle or a company like Lineage or General Dynamics, automation, it will blow your mind.
It's happening fast.
Yeah.
The changes in technology are happening so fast.
Right.
Major life and business changes can really shake things up, for worse, and sometimes, I believe, for the better. As a certified neurocoach, I know that when we are in an area of transformation in our lives that we did not choose, or maybe we did, we're bumped up against our comfort zone. And when that happens, our subconscious mind gets louder and tries to pull us back to where we feel safe. But I know, as a certified neurocoach, that this is the perfect time to take this transformation and turn it into something that you desire, something that you want. This is the perfect time to rewire those old limiting beliefs that have gotten in your way, and let's break free from that in this time of transformation and make it work for you. Let's turn this into a magical moment. I would love to hear from you. You can book a call on my website at mariaconaglero.com. Let's make this transformation last.
So then do you teach them how to stay abreast of all of these changes?
Yeah, and that's where those program advisory committees come in. So we bring them together at least once a year, sometimes twice a year, and they're still the boots on the ground feeding us information. Okay, you've been teaching this in your curriculum. It's not relevant anymore. Replace this with that. Talk about this next year. Because like you said, it's constantly changing. So they really help us keep on top of all of that. It really is like real world, like in time. Education.
Is that probably one of your biggest challenges as an educator at that level, is just staying on top of it?
Yeah, and we're not talking about cheap pieces of equipment. Yeah. This isn't just a classroom with computers and four walls and some tables and chairs. Our campus, it's set up like a lab setting, like a real world industry setting. So we get a lot of grants. We get a lot of support from our legislators, luckily, and a lot of private foundation grants to be able to get these pieces of equipment. When I started on the fundraising side, I had to put together my first grant application. I remember talking to the diesel truck technology faculty member, and I'm like, okay, we're going to put in for this engine, this one, how much does that cost? And I think he said like $80,000. And I was like, for one engine? I just couldn't wrap my mind around it at the time. Yeah, so that is probably one of our biggest challenges, just keeping the cost of our type of education affordable. Keeping it under $20,000 a year is very important to me, and just figuring out other ways in which to raise money and bring grants in.
That's
incredible.
Great. Thank you. What makes Dr. Katie tick?
Let's go down the bottom line here. Yeah.
No, I mean, so I think just my impression is that a company or an organization is representative of its leader or leaders. So as an important leader there at the college, what's driving you every day? Are you like, God, we're here. I want to get us to what is there?
Yeah. So I think first, when I started there, I had a vision for Johnson College when I went through the presidential search process. And I said, I know Johnson College can do it. Like, I want to see a larger, more diverse college where students are immersed in industry from day one, not just being educated for the jobs of today, but the careers of tomorrow. So that was at the center of everything that I started to do. Within my first week, I was out, we booked all these industry visits because I wanted to get out and meet the individuals that were hiring our students and ask them, how can we help more? What can we do differently? What can we change? And once we started growing, then it became about, okay, how are we going to keep up with this demand? We need to make sure that our facilities represent what we know we have on the inside. Like, our reputation, you ask anyone, they have Johnson College students. It's outstanding. And some of our facilities didn't necessarily match that. So again, that's where my fundraising background kicked in. And I said, okay, a larger, more diverse Johnson College, we need to go out and raise money so that we can make sure our facilities match what the goods that we have on the inside. And then we introduced some of those special programs like the Industry Fast Track program and a RISE program, which is Readiness and Skilled Employment, which really takes individuals who don't have a lot of work experience and maybe haven't had the kinds of opportunities that some of us have had to achieve any type of upward mobility. And we help take barriers away from them, whether it's transportation or housing or childcare. And we give them the opportunity to focus on their education so that maybe they can be the first in their family to get any type of credential and get into the workforce and be able to support their family and have that upward mobility. For me, it always comes back to, yes, there's the mission of Johnson College, there's our vision, there's our value proposition of we work, but at the end of the day, what the board bought when they hired me was what I said, how we would bring my vision for the college into focus. And I knew we could do it. We had an amazing team. We still do. I love working with them, and I love the faculty and our students, and it makes a huge difference.
You must have, when you're going through that list, all I can think of is who's your support team? Because you must have a pretty good group of, probably a smaller group than I would think. It might be one person. But that plus, like when you're talking about your vision, and then that vision's constantly got to be tweaked and upgraded, whatever, changed, who's doing that? Who's the think tank there?
Yeah. So we have an awesome senior leadership team. So I have 3 vice presidents, and then we have an amazing chief academic officer, chief financial officer, vice president of special programs, facilities, and everybody has to work together. And it's never about like their silo, right? I think when I started at the college, I think we were very siloed. So my goal was to get out, start communicating with people, get people talking to each other, work on a strategic plan together so they understand that, again, no different than the programs that our students are in. How does, what marketing impact enrollment, which impacts academics, which then comes back and impacts fundraising. So just helping everybody understand that we're really all in this together. And at the end of the day, what we're delivering is that like value proposition of we work, which isn't just a tagline. For us, it really is what we feel we deliver to both students and employers. So that's like our rally cry.
I love it. That's good. Yeah. Has a double meaning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did you learn that?
Where did I learn?
To put that strategic plan together. Was that something you learned through your schooling, or was it more or less? One of the things I usually tell my kids is when you're done with college, you're not done learning. You just you move a different format.
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing, there's always. I just turned 54. I'm always learning. Taking a class tonight after this, an online class that I have to get done. But where did you come up with all this? Somebody had to come in. Hey, we're going to do this strategically with purpose. Where'd that come from?
So I think from the very beginning, my grandfather was a great role model. He was a wonderful salesman, and I loved listening to him. And it was never about the sale. I could tell that. It was always just about how he was making the other person feel. Yeah. And so I think that started it. And then I was in my undergraduate, my undergraduate degree was actually in English. So I love words. I love communicating. I was not the person who said they were afraid to get up in front of the class and speak. I was like, I'll do it. Like, I was always like volunteers. Everyone's okay, great. Like she'll do it. We want her on our team. Yeah. There was that, but I minored in management. And I had a great management professor too, who said, if you're going to work hard, you should play hard. So never forget your hobbies. What are your hobbies? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't have any hobbies. I just want to work. So it's very much, but I always loved going out for walks like early in the morning. And I always loved my bike. And I felt I tried to cultivate that. And that keeps me centered and grounded so that I can like always make sure that I'm focused and centered on the right things. And then my master's, certainly that was probably my favorite degree because everything we were working on at the college, I could apply to my master's, and everything I was learning in my master's about strategic planning and thinking, I could apply to all the change that we were creating at the college. So that was just a wonderful time in my life and a great period of just like growth and just harnessing that strategic thought process.
I'm going to ask the question I know everybody's thinking there. When you say bike, are you saying like a Peloton, a regular bike, or like a Harley?
I have 2 bikes. I'm very lucky that I have 2 bikes. I have one hybrid, a Cannondale that is both road and trail, which I love. And now I think the Cannondale's jealous because last year I got a Trek Fuel EX, which is a mountain bike, which I was horrible last year. I probably got it halfway through the summer. I always wanted to try mountain biking. And here I am in my 40s. I'm like, what am I thinking?
Doing the right thing.
Yeah, but I love being in the woods. And in my mind, I'm like, I've always wanted to try to experience the woods this way and the trees and nature. So this year I went back at it and I'm much better. And I absolutely love it. And
you give your bikes personalities?
I do. I talk about my bike as we. I'm like, we didn't do so good today. We. And then like last night I was retelling a story about being at Lackawanna State Park and I'm like, I think my bike was rolling its eyes at me. And just saying, get your life
Do you have
together.
names? Do the bikes have names?
No, just the one's the Cannondale and the other
Yeah.
one's mountain bike.
But I think there's a lot of parallels there.
Yeah.
Is that you're not afraid to take a challenge. You're
Right.
not afraid to learn something new. You're not afraid to put yourself in a situation that you are familiar with but have never technically done before.
Yeah. And I think, that's the great thing about life, right?
Yeah.
I think I just always, even the Miller Mountain Challenge, I never in a million years thought I would do something like that and have as much fun doing it. But it's something that's just a different way to think. You get outside of yourself and then you realize how small you really are in the universe. Like, really, in the scheme of things, like, we're nothing. I hate to say it that way. And I don't mean to offend anybody, but that just keeps me grounded. And just when I go for those early morning walks and I look up and there's like the moon and the stars, and you can't help but realize that, okay, everything's going to be okay. What I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
Right.
No, so true. I
It's nothing.
I went out to Utah last year. It was my first solo vacation by myself.
Yeah.
And I went and I hiked the Red Rocks, and I had the
that's awesome.
same experience. I said, I want to see the
Yeah.
night sky out here. And I had the very same experience. One of the guides said humans have only really been around for 200,000 years.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there's rocks that are millions of years old
Right. Yeah.
that are tumbling by. And humans are only here 200,000 years. And it's,
Right.
we really are nothing.
I know.
We're a little tiny blip in
Speck.
time
I know.
on
Right,
this
now,
planet.
wait a minute.
Really?
Let me stand up for the human race.
No, but it does put things in perspective.
Right. Yeah. And we are awesome as
Yeah, we're
humans. And I think
awesome.
sometimes we take it for granted. I'm
Yes.
grateful that, like, my body, like, I can
Yes.
just do these things and I have the opportunity to do it. And I think too that having those moments like that. So I try to create that, I think, as much as I can, just like here locally, and build it into my daily
Yeah.
practice.
Because why not try something?
right.
If we really are that small, that opens up
Right.
a lot of opportunity.
yeah.
Say, what else are we really capable of?
And you're always going to learn, right? So
Right.
there's never a failure right, when
No.
you learn something. So I'm like, and I fell so
Yeah.
much last year, and I had scrapes. I was like a 9-year-old again, and I have now like my fingers like bandaged up from running into a tree. But so what? Like, I'm slow, but I'm having fun, and it helps.
Yeah.
with
So
everything.
we ran into a tree.
Yeah, it was weird.
I think I took that one on myself. I'm like, I did that.
Is there an age where it's too late to go back to school?
Oh, I don't think so. We've had students in their 60s, 70s come back just to take a class and challenge themselves. And like I said, we have high school students that finish with a college credential before they graduate high school. So I think, again, it depends on what you want your challenge to be. I have a doctorate. Would I have gone for my doctorate if I wasn't going to be president and CEO of Johnson College? Probably not. I'm just being honest. I loved my bachelor's and my master's, but I feel the world doesn't need more of like me with a doctorate. So I would go back to school, like I said, for something probably like mechatronics or radiology.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, what's
I wonder what I
interesting
would
about
do.
when you think about it is a lot of the people will say that today's education is very difficult for today's kids because it's boring. Not necessarily boring, but to sit in a classroom
Right.
for hours and hours, it's just not what the child's body is built to do.
Yeah, and I think a lot of kids get written off that way. I think
They're like,
they're,
oh, I must not want to learn.
or I'm not smart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I would think hands-on stuff like you do at the college makes it fun,
Yeah.
interesting,
Oh,
and
yeah.
challenging.
Engaging. I think it's
Engaging,
really,
yeah.
it's just, we try to make it that from day one, that first week on campus, they're in that lab setting. So they have an idea, they can begin with the end in mind. So they know when I go out to industry, this is what it's going to be like. I don't have to wait 2 years or 4 years to see what it's going to be like. This is it.
Yeah,
I
no
think
doubt.
that's great. I went to design school and it was very similar. I mean,
Yeah.
we were in the computer lab. We were in art classes. We were getting our hands dirty. It was great.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I know. Yeah. And that was the one thing people are like, back in the day when I said I was going to major in English, I got the standard, oh, what are you going to do with that? But I use that degree every single day.
I'm sure you do.
Effective communication and being able to write well. And anytime I ask employers, what are the skills that you think are missing? It's never the technical skills. It's always the soft skills.
Wow.
I bring that back to campus and I share share that with students. I'm like, I'm not just saying this because I was an English major and you're telling me you hate English. I'm hearing it firsthand from employers that being able to carry a conversation, speak to customers, speak to your fellow staff people, being able to communicate effectively will set you apart in the workplace and in life.
You know what I hear a lot from business owners about their employees in those kinds of fields, in all fields, but the phones.
Yes.
I can't get my guys to put their phones down, or as soon as they have a second to take a break, they immediately grab their phone, and then they're in a fight with their girlfriend, or they're trying to do this or that, and it's 5 minutes goes by, and super frustrating.
Yeah.
So I guess you don't allow students to have phones in the...
Well, actually, we've figured out a way to use them to our advantage. There's like great apps that when they're in the classroom, if it's like a theory class, there's apps where they can put the instructor can put questions on the board, and then through the app, the student, it's almost like a little challenge in a game, like a quiz game almost. Okay. They can answer through the app, and then without somebody being embarrassed or giving the wrong answer, the instructor can come back and say, 5 out of 10 of you answered this way, the other 5 answered this way, this is the answer, and do the lesson that way. So we've tried, because the faculty were in the same boat like years ago and just complaining. And I asked, what can we do about it? How can we try to use it to our advantage? So we try.
Yeah, you don't take it from them. You make it part of the classroom.
Right. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Or we even ask them like, hey, try to look at 3 other sources that are demonstrating how to fix what I'm teaching you right now, how to fix. So they'll go on YouTube or they'll Google. And so we try to make it engaging and fun.
Is there in your vision, is there an apex to this climb, this growth of the college?
So there's something called the enrollment cliff. So people over the years have not been having as many children as they've traditionally been having. That peaks in 2026. So we took a step back and said, okay, what happens then? Let's look at the trends, because you can get all this information online. You can see what high schools are projecting their graduation rates are going to be. You can look at which areas are projected to grow in the country. So we, as part of our strategic planning process, took a step back and looked at all of that. And I still think we're positioned fairly well, even beyond the enrollment cliff, especially because we are affordable. We are very different. We continue to differentiate ourselves and make it engaging, and just always looking at that data to make sure we pivot appropriately.
As your wealth builds, so does the amount of pressure that surrounds you, right? Maybe your income is still higher than ever and your business has more revenue than ever, but you're also thinking about your family, your employees and their families, debts that you need to pay off, taxes that you want to minimize, cash flows to track, all while trying to stay excellent at your job and innovative within your industry. Our team at Stonehouse helps you manage your personal wealth, whether it's in your retirement plan, your business, or any other place. While you're busy out there conquering the world and trying to take care of others, don't forget about taking care of yourself. Contact Stonehouse to see how we can help make your life better.
Do you find in a trade school you're more open to people coming back for second careers or second degrees or just learning something later in life? So it's not necessarily just high school graduates coming in. It's a wider audience.
Yeah. So our average age of student is between 21 and 22 years of age. Yeah. They'll start somewhere else and then come back or try something. They'll work for a couple of years and then figure out, what I was dabbling in some electrical, and I think I really want to come back and get a degree in this. So we do see a lot of that.
Will that be part of your marketing strategy?
Yeah. So we try to focus on adults more and more, because especially just the need of employers, and with some of our special programs, those special programs tend to attract adults. And again, these are individuals that just maybe were never given a chance or just didn't think any type of higher education was in their future. We also just started a prison education program where we're going into the county prisons and just offering something like OSHA just to give them something to start with.
That's fantastic.
Thanks.
Who goes in there? Is it hard to find a volunteer instructor to go in there?
No. So there are instructors, but we are doing this through, we have this really cool live stream equipment. So our instructor will be on our campus.
Gotcha.
And then the students in the prison are seeing our instructor like in real time, like on the Johnson College campus. We have GoPros and everything. So if they're like doing something, they can actually be like on top of it. Yeah, it's really cool. It's a really cool technology. We got that through a USDA grant. Yeah, it's really cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Who finds all those grants?
Oh my gosh, we have a wonderful grant writer, Karen Baker.
Okay. Shout out. Yeah. That's critical. Right?
Yes, yeah. And that was the role I started in. So like she's a great strategic partner, just like a thought partner in terms of, okay, again, like here we are, like with the vision and the mission and how do we keep advancing this and moving this forward.
And your board and you guys are in sync, it sounds like.
Yeah, we have a great board. It's large. We're up to 23 people, and that's what we can go up to. Yeah.
Wow.
My goal when I became president and CEO was I really wanted to add more alumni to the board because up to that point, we had only had one alum board chair. And that sort of goes back to the history I was talking about a little earlier, just about past presidents before my predecessor didn't necessarily see the value of engaging our alumni.
Was it made up of donors?
No, it was like a lot of bankers, a lot of lawyers.
Oh.
Yeah. So along with the alumni who would be in the fields that we represent, I also wanted to add more industry leaders as well. So we've been able to do that since I've been president.
So like a lot of white collar folks on the board of the
okay.
I get it.
They're all wonderful though.
I mean, everybody plays a role and you still need both in most parts of your life. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say your graduates. Do most of them stay in the area? Do they leave?
Do. Yeah, I like to say we contribute to the brain gain and not the brain drain. We probably, before we added Hazleton, I mean, our kind of recruitment radius was probably 60 to 90 miles, but the 90 was more Pike County and then New York State. We weren't getting a lot of students from Hazleton, so that was another decision to strategically go to Hazleton because of the industry that was there and the population growth and the types of careers that individuals could have. But yeah, it's more like a 2-hour.
That's great. So you're having a huge impact on the community.
Yeah, we try.
Wow.
What other advice do you counsel the kids on? I say kids. Can it be called kids when you're 18? The students. Do you counsel them on things outside of their trade skills?
Yeah. So all of our programs have general education classes. Like I said, it breaks my heart when they say they hate English because that was my major. So I do talk to them about that. I try to bring back as much information from employers as I can. We were doing a series of videos for a while to showcase our employers and the partnerships we have with them. But yeah, I talk to students about everything from the fight they just had with their boyfriend or girlfriend to how important it is to communicate to why is my mom being a pain. I'm like, listen.
Skills.
Now, I don't want to introduce boredom into an energetic scenario, but how about financial planning? Is that taught to them? Because I think everybody needs to have a 101 crash course in that.
Yeah. So we do a student success seminar where we do bring in a lot of outside speakers and we do cover financial planning. You would be surprised the number of students that don't realize how important their credit score is to just about everything in life. And then when they talk about a goal being wanting to buy their first truck or wanting to own a home or get married and start a family, and then sitting down with them and explaining the real world, this is how it works and what's your credit score and what's that. So we have introduced a lot of those types of speakers into our classes.
That's great.
That's great.
Yeah.
There's a lot of little shortcuts or hacks and stuff that you could do. You can put your kids, like if you have a credit card, you can put your kids as authorized users of that card. And it actually, even though you're still paying the monthly bill, it'll actually build a credit score for them.
That's great.
Yeah. So, you know, like when your student graduates college, he or she could have a 750 credit score.
Wow.
You know, even though they haven't really paid anything on their own yet.
Right.
And it's theirs to lose from there.
Good luck.
Yeah, but just to have anything in that range is great. It's super helpful. But it's like getting a license. It doesn't mean you're an amazing driver. You need to, it gives you the ability to borrow some money or sign up for things. But anyway, we're not here to talk about credit. Yeah, I think it's important, but I'm a dork. This is where you say, no, you're not.
No, you're not.
Thank you, Maria.
I'm already thinking about my next question. That's why I'm like,
Go for it.
So how about you personally?
Sure.
What about, have you had any major challenges that you felt like you've had to overcome and work through?
Yeah. So I think I look back at my time at the college, and it's a place I'm very passionate about. And I really struggled when they did the presidential search process. I think so. My predecessor had been there 25 plus years. Wow. She was wonderful. She's still a friend today, and mentor, friend, parent sometimes when my parents weren't around. So it was really difficult because I was dealing with her retirement because I was the first one she told. So I had that sort of emotional aspect to deal with. I think she felt she was doing the college a favor by announcing so early. She announced like a whole year ahead. Typically, college searches are done in a very tight time frame of 6 months. Some places do it in 3. So there was a year. And then knowing then that I was going to be like the internal candidate, it just changed everything. And so for that year, here I am now telling students, 2 years flies by. I couldn't even tell myself, like a year will fly by, like this, it will be okay. And I was young at the time, and I was a young president, and I was just intimidated to change my relationships with the board. An alum by the name of Dave Bonello, who again, he's one of my closest friends today too. I always say, thank goodness Dave was board chair at the time. He was that alum that was the first alum board chair, because I don't know that I would have gotten through it without him. And he wasn't telling me anything he shouldn't throughout the process, but it was more like you just got to figure out a way to hang in there. And I was executive vice president at the time at the college, so I was overseeing all the operations. As my predecessor was winding down, I was trying to keep everything going at the college. My mom was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in the middle of all of that. So it was just like the perfect storm of emotion and doubt and fear and ego and just everything into that. And I had a great support system, friends that let me talk about it ad nauseum. Sure, it was very annoying. I had my hikes, my walks, my bike, and all. I just really relied on that. But looking back, I don't know how I overcame it, but
what's that process like? Did you apply? You have to go in front of the board?
So it was a long process. They announced it. And then, of course, I'm up to this point involved in everything at the college. And this was also like the biggest thing for the college that I couldn't be involved with. So then I'm like critical of everything because they hire a search firm. They put out like this whole prospectus of where the college is at and, what they're looking for. And I'm like, I could have done a better job writing that. It was all like negative, ego, like driven, just negativity. That's so not me. And you have those moments of maybe this really is me. Am I going to be stuck like in this place in my head like forever? And did a lot of counseling at that time. Went to counseling and just tried to work through it as best as I can. I journaled, like I did everything. And I just
everything you could.
Yeah. And the search process was intense. There were 3 levels of interviews, and it was difficult too on the staff because one of the interviews is a whole day where you're in meeting with like faculty and staff, and then a group of students, and then a group of board members, and then another like separate interview with board members. So again, these are people you've built relationships with. And again, as someone who likes to challenge the status quo, it was one of those things where I almost couldn't accept the process because in my mind, I'm like, there's got to be a better way to do this for everybody, not just me, the board members, because I know it was hard on them too. For my predecessor, who again was dealing with her own stuff, like getting ready to retire, it's huge. And I thought, I hope like moving forward, I can provide like input later in the future to make this a little easier on others in the future.
You're not retiring anytime soon.
Right, no. Ben told me I couldn't.
It's in the contract.
What did you learn about yourself in that process?
I think that we're always, and we never give ourselves enough credit. I think especially as women, we're just our own harshest critic. I'm such a positive person, and I'll be honest, like for a year I just was not thinking anything positive about myself. I just thought of all the reasons why. I almost talked myself out of even applying. I just was in that cycle of negativity that, why me? Why am I even doing this? I'm young. I can go do other things. But I didn't want to, I always knew I wanted to be president and CEO of something. And for me, Johnson College was it. I just didn't want to go off and try to be president and CEO somewhere else. I really wanted to be president and CEO of Johnson College. And I think I was just taking the whole thing like way too seriously.
It meant a lot to you. It was important to you. Yeah.
But then I didn't enjoy it. But then I didn't enjoy the process. So I think that's something else I like. Like if I could tell my younger self anything, just enjoy it more, because as we've talked about, just time flies and we just never know what tomorrow's going to bring. And I just encourage everybody just to enjoy it, especially if you have an opportunity like that. I didn't look at it as an opportunity. I think because I was there. I think if I had been an outside candidate, I would be like, oh my gosh, I was selected. I have the opportunity to like interview to be president and CEO of a college. I think if that was my mindset, I think I would have enjoyed it a heck of a lot more. But because of that like internal candidate like stat, it really just did a number on me, and I allowed it.
Were there other people internally that wanted it?
No, I think there were two other outside candidates. I think in the end it was me and two other.
Oh wow!
I find it really amazing that I've known you for an hour. And from the moment you walked in, I just like great energy. Maria already said that about you, and I think that's a persona that you've earned, right?
Yeah.
To know that an optimistic, energetic person can also get down on themselves.
Oh yeah,
but pull themselves back out. And I guess you talk yourself out of it.
Yeah.
Or back into it, whatever you want to say.
I think you have to know yourself really well and just recognize and just be honest. I was married at the time and took a huge toll on my marriage. My daughter was young, and I just kept trying to tell myself, what example are you trying to set for her? So I did. I tried a lot of to turn the negative self-talk into positive. And I would go into the woods and yell at the trees, and because they're a lot older than me and they've seen and heard it all. So I'm like, here you go, universe.
Take this. Please take it. Take all of it.
I don't want it.
I think that's great, thow.
There's actually an older music group called Screaming Trees.
Oh, yeah.
That's
they're
what
not that old. Now you're making me feel really old.
Well, to me, it seems old. Go ahead. I interrupted you. Okay.
No, it's like you knew that it was a season.
Yeah.
That wasn't your default. So a part of you knew that, even though you saw yourself in that spiral.
Yeah. And I try to tell the students too, just what I've learned from that is that everything's temporary. Every feeling, every thought, everything's temporary, which in some instances can seem really depressing. But in other, if you just take it for what it is, I think in moments like that, I think if people can tell themselves that, like this too shall pass, and it does.
Yeah. You do learn a lot about yourself, and you learn how to get through hard things, which then later comes in handy when things get really hard.
Yeah.
And can't be worse than that. I got this.
Yeah. And it's funny, when COVID happened, we really sprung into action. And I think people counted us out because they're like, oh my gosh, how does a hands-on college operate when campus is closed and you can't deliver your education? And that just gave us another opportunity to think creatively and entrepreneurially, because I think it's a mindset, and just say, okay, now people are finally seeing the value of our employer partners. They're considered essential. This word essential became everything. So the minute they were back up and running, we knew they were going to be short-staffed, and we thought, let's get on the phone and say, how can we help? Which will help us too. Can we send students there to finish labs? Can we teach classes maybe from in the parking lots of your facility, since our campus has to be closed? So we just really dug in. And I did go back to that. I thought, you know what? I feel like I've already faced the worst. And people ask, were you scared? And I wasn't, because I knew we could do it. I knew we had the team and the spirit. And I was getting calls from parents and students saying, hey, this is what you've trained us for. Kind of put us in, coach. We got this. We can do this. And that was everything for me. That's all I needed to bring the team together and say, okay, this is what we're going to do.
You're a natural leader.
Yeah.
You could tell. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I think really good leaders are always looking at bad moments as opportunity. It takes a special
Yeah.
mindset to do that. A lot of people can't do that.
And it's tough. There's a lot of lonely moments. Or you have your own business, or you're leading an organization, or if you're one of the few senior leaders at a small organization, it's hard. And there's a lot more lonely moments. And not that you don't have a good support team, but there are those moments where it's just you. You're by yourself.
Yeah.
And you have to be okay when you lay your head on the pillow at night, but you have to know yourself really well, and you have to be willing to have those tough conversations with yourself first, and then with others.
And then go yell it in the forest.
And then
That's
yell at
right.
the trees.
That's right.
Wasn't it Tony Robbins that said, at least, I don't know if he started it, but I remember seeing him say, most people overestimate what they can do in a year, but underestimate what they can do in a lifetime. And I think that's an interesting thing. I often think to myself, when you're like, I wish I was smarter or thought more about it and had the confidence. Like, I think to myself every year, I'm at the peak. I really know a lot about my craft and the people around me running the business. And then next year, I think, man, so much I learned this year.
Yeah.
I'm so much smarter than that dumb guy. So I'm thinking about, am I on the dumb stage now, or am I on the smart? Like, just fast forwarding a year. Hopefully, Hopefully, I don't want it to ever tip over.
Yeah, I always think of that. I don't know if you guys are Game of Thrones fans, but I always think of when Ygritte says to Jon Snow, "Nothing, Jon Snow." I always think of that. I'm like, we really know nothing. At the end, because like you said, we're learning every single day. Hopefully, we know a little more than the day before. But there are some days where you feel like you're starting from scratch and nothing. So I always think of that.
I don't mean to promote something I have nothing to do, but I still say it's the greatest series I've ever watched. My son just randomly trivia questioned me on that.
Oh, really?
He said, "Who was the actress what was the name of the character that said nothing?" It took me a second. I got it. Yeah, it took me like 2 seconds. It's like, you don't know. And I'm embarrassed. Oh, it's great. It's great.
Oh, yeah. It is really good.
You just have to, got to give it a couple episodes.
Yes.
You got to get invested in the characters.
In the characters,
yes.
Well,
Yeah.
I've heard enough good things about it.
Yeah, I'm usually a comedy person, but I made a list of shows I wanted to watch after I got my doctorate, because I said people would like talk about these shows, and I'm like, I don't know anything about anything. And Game of Thrones was always like one, so I just like recently started watching it. Yeah,
It's a great one to binge watch.
Yeah, I know. It's
What's
awesome.
another one on your list?
Oh, Schitt's Creek was on my list. I love that show.
great.
I love that show. And then I watched Ted Lasso after. I tried getting into Mad Men, and I could see what the appeal is. I just couldn't get into it. Yeah.
The Mad Men, for me, it was just the shock of the change in culture.
Yeah.
And that's the part of, like when they're all sitting there smoking.
Oh, I know.
And
I
treating
hold
the
my
room
breath
like
when
servants.
people smoke on TV.
How did you feel? You're like, this is
like, why am I not breathing?
I was on a plane ride this past year, and there's a no smoking sign, and I guess it never occurred to me, but I'm thinking, yeah, they used to smoke on planes.
You still have to put that on
I
there.
was just like, who's going like, oh, I didn't know this was a thing. I'm so sorry.
No.
Costanza. Had I known smoking was bad. So anything else that you do to, like, other than binge watch Game of Thrones, to de-stress or clear your mind?
Again, I'm just a big outdoors person. So year round, I don't care how cold it is. Unless it's like storming and windy, I'll pretty much be outside every morning walking if I can. I just took up skiing this past year, and I absolutely love that. So I just really, and again, for me, it just takes me outside of myself. And on those morning walks, I say that I think about everything and nothing all at once. And somehow when I get back into the house and I'm like making my coffee, just everything becomes clear.
Yeah, right.
So are you listening to podcasts, music, nothing?
I am a huge music person. I love hard rock. And growing up in New York, I was so lucky. Like I got to see pretty much every band I wanted to see. I got to meet a bunch of bands. I'm still to this day a huge hard rock
I love that.
fan.
Top 2 bands?
Oh, Chevelle and and probably growing up it was Pantera. I loved Pantera. But now it's probably, I would say, Chevelle, and I love Gaslight Anthem. I love Kings of Leon. I love Blink-182. The Killers. So Chevelle's probably like the hardest, but
I'm getting I'm getting a sense of you now. All right. And it's a good thing.
Corn, you know.
Were you at Socrates?
What was that?
Were you at Socrates?
No, but I saw that online.
I can't stop watching that Netflix show or whatever. I wasn't there. I should have been. I was that age group. I missed it. You'll have to watch that.
But yeah, I would stay up till 3 a.m. watching like Headbangers Ball. It was like the highlight of my week. Yeah, I would get 3 or 4 hours of sleep, get up, go to work. Yeah, my mom was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm just watching Headbangers Ball."
So is that why you're so good with the kids? Because you're still a kid?
Right. Well, and I asked, I'm like, "So do you guys know who Chevelle is?" Because they're still making new music. They just came out with new music. And one of like my happiest moments was when I was visiting Hazleton and the students were like, "Yeah, we get into Chevelle every once in a while. Do you want us to put Chevelle on?" I'm like, "Of course I want you to put Chevelle on."
That's great.
Yeah. Breaking Band, they're local.
Yeah, Breaking Band. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
What else do we need to know about you?
I know. What else is there?
I don't know. I want to ask you about your tats, but I don't know if that's cool.
I have a lot. I have 10. I just entered double digits.
Wow.
Yeah, my mom, she would not be proud.
Speaking of, so a little bit different. I would love to know maybe 1 to 3 of your go-to people in your life when, for whatever reason, like certain people have, for most of us, like when there's a type of issue, I go to this person. So who are you, like your closest, like personal advisors, I guess?
Yeah. So you can kind of have a personal board of directors. So, you know, Dave Bonello, that alum that I mentioned, he's definitely, he's definitely, we call it like the council. We meet for breakfast. He's the hand, like Game of Thrones.
If you don't know Game of Thrones, it's like your right hand person.
What?
The hand of the king. Yeah. Anyway.
And my predecessor, Dr. Ann, because she knows those lonely moments. Yeah. She's one person that I can call and just say it was one of those days, and I don't even have to say much, and she totally gets it and knows what to say. Yeah, I live in a wonderful neighborhood too. I've become very close with one of my neighbors, and he and I will go for long walks. Sometimes he has this great dog. At first, I was like all annoyed because I'm like, I have to slow down my pace on these walks, but
different type of walk.
Right? We just talk about again everything and nothing. I probably couldn't sit here and tell you like the last 5 things we talked about, but somehow you just feel better about life after stuff like that.
Speaking of feel better, I can't tell you how much better I feel that you didn't list one of your bikes as the top 3 advisors. I was so worried.
Or the tree outside the
or the red maple in our backyard.
What's the next chapter of your life look like? You're here as long as you can make a difference. And I don't want to put words in your mouth. But.
Yeah, no. As president and CEO, you work under like a contract. So I'm at this stage in my life. I want to be there, to your point, as long as I'm making a difference and the board feels like I'm adding value to the faculty and the staff. And as long as I continue to always bring those positive relationships to the college, have that at the college. I think the worst thing for anybody is when they've had this awesome career and then they don't know when to leave. And I learned a lot from my predecessor. Like she was clear. This is what I want. I'm done. I want to leave on a high note. And I really respect that. And I learned a lot from that. So I don't know what would be on the other side of Johnson College. It's been such a huge part of my life. I would love to, again, I love speaking in front of people. I would love to consult and just connect with as many people as I can.
So you're leaving a legacy, really. You're building a legacy, not just for you personally, but for your board and for the community.
I hope so. I hope we've touched a lot of students' lives. And it's just, I'm so fortunate that I get to see the impact of that on this community because so many of them stay in this community. I can't imagine going to another institution where students are there for a couple of years and then go back out into the world, which is wonderful. They're having an impact, but to be able to see it right here in the community where I live and to see them not just thrive at the college, but also like help through community service, through organizations that I'm passionate about. And again, to see that impact is it's huge.
Wow. Yeah, that's got to feel so good.
Yeah. And I hope for them too. I think they love, driving down the street with their family and friends and looking at a house that they helped build for veterans and being able to say to their family, we helped build that and I helped wire that house, or I did the HVAC for someone who's aging in their home, trying to age in their home. It makes a huge impact on their lives.
I'm super excited, appreciative of your time because you're very busy. Very thankful that you came here and very excited about where you've already gone and where you're taking this.
Thank you.
Shout out again to Ben Robbins.
That's right.
For hooking us up.
Yeah, and the Miller Mountain Challenge. Everyone should do it. Don't be intimidated.
I was just there on Sunday.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah, my own challenge.
That's right.
It was hard.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So gorgeous.
It
So
is.
well kept.
And right here,
Yeah.
like again, these things that we have, like right in our backyard, it's just awesome.
Yeah.
We'll see you at the next Miller Mountain.
Yes.
Awesome. All right.
Thank you, Katie.
Thanks, Dr. Katie.
Thank you.
This was great.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Beyond the Bottom Line. Thank you for listening. If this conversation sparked something for you, please let us know. Follow, share, or leave a review. It helps us keep having the conversations we love that you love to listen to. We'll be back in 2 weeks with more real talk from real leaders. Until then, here's to feeling successful beyond the bottom line.